Hello everyone. I hope everybody is doing okay. Today I want us to talk about the D block of elements. That's chemistry. The D block of elements are dominantly metals, and they are also known as transition metals. And they are called transitional metals because they sit at the middle of the periodic table between the S block of elements and the P block of elements. So as you transition from the more reactive S block of elements across to the other side of the periodic table where we have nonmetals, where you're going to find the P block of elements, in between sits the D block of elements. And they're called the D block of elements because they are valence electrons, basically the electrons that are able to interact with other components to form compounds. They are sitting in a D orbital. Okay, there's an S orbital, a P orbital, a D orbital, and so on and so forth. So for the D block of elements, the valency electrons or outermost electrons in the outermost energy shell do occupy the D orbital, hence the D block of elements. So it's quite a number of elements in that particular space, the D block, and I'm going to mention a few and tie this to the topic of the day, what I want to discuss today. Okay, you're going to have a couple of them, copper, iron, and many other metals that we do know of that are used on the daily applications, from making all forms of sheets that we do used to do construction and all that, frames, structures and whatnot, piping. But now we have other metals that are not easily found. You can't find them all easily. They're really difficult to come by, hence they are a rarity. And that's why we have a mention of the rare earth minerals, which basically means these metals or minerals are rare here on earth. They're rare because of a number of reasons. A, because they were formed at very specific and peculiar areas where we had abnormal, quote-unquote abnormal, earth reactions, processes, or movements, things like volcanic eruptions or tectonic plate movements, where there could be a shear or a tear, hence formation of very peculiar minerals. Or some of these can be from out of the earth. So we have some asteroids and meteors that are able to go through the Earth's atmosphere. As you all know, the mesosphere has one main function, and that is to consume or burn anything that is trying to penetrate the Earth's atmosphere, which is going to later then impact the Earth. But some of those do not really get consumed at the mesosphere, so they come through and they land, and with them they come with materials that are not of Earth, so they are from basically out of space, hence they are rare in that sense. So these minerals are unique, and mostly because of their properties. You're going to derive application of various materials or elements from their properties, and there are two types of properties. We have physical properties and chemical properties. Physical properties are going to be things like their melting points, their boiling points, the ability to be ductile or malleable. Ductile is the ability of a material to be drawn into a thin wire or into wires, and malleability is the ability of a material to be heat flat into a thin sheet of material or sheet of metal. Most of these are metal, so I'm going to use metal in this particular example. So yeah, these rare earth minerals have got wide applications, and before I mention what they are, let me mention a space and a place in our country called Kwale County. Here there's a place called Mrima Hills, where there has been a discovery of these rare earth minerals that are precious. Anything rare is going to be precious, demand supply, and for that reason there's a building contention between powers that be. Right now we're talking about US and China, and their race to be the new frontier in the new era of advancement in technology and AI. So in many industries, these two want to be the leader. The US has been for a minute, and China is chasing from behind at a high speed, and this creates competition. So that said, there was a discovery of these minerals. Some of them are neodymium, dysprosium, cerium, coltan, gallium, niobium, to name but a few. I'm not sure these are the exact ones that I found there. They're saying there's the presence of these ones, and other common ones are gold included, and they have wide application. Niobium, for example, is used to form an alloy with steel, to form high-strength steel, with application in construction of high-strength structures like skyscrapers, bridges, overpasses, and whatnot. It will find application in aerospace and defense mechanisms to manufacture engines and rocket nozzles. They are going to find application because of their conductivity, unique conductivity and magnetism in electronics and energy. Because of their stability, they will find application in medical devices. Because of their high melting and boiling points, they're going to find application in nuclear energy, especially in construction of reactors. Okay? And there's a variation from one element to the other, but because of their unique properties, they are going to have also unique applications. So with the new frontier of chasing to build the smartest smartphones and other devices within the Internet of Things and AI, the EV chase to make every vehicle electric, renewable energy systems, advanced military technology, all these particular applications will need rediscovery of the materials that we've been able to experience so far, and the rare earth minerals come in handy in this particular chase. So that makes Kwale a point of interest, an attraction point in that sense, especially for extraction. The problem here is that mineral deposits have never been a blessing to Africa, largely. Okay, Congo is a good example. There is instability in Libya. We all know that it has huge oil deposits, and if you run throughout the continent, you're going to find many examples of this nature. So my prayer is that if this is the case, if we do have mineral deposits in Kwale County that are valued at 62.4 billion, I don't know who did the valuation, which is 8 trillion Kenyan shillings, a lot of money. That means we can run our country without taxing anyone, without borrowing anything for the next 3 years straight with this kind of money. I hope that this particular discovery does not end up being a curse rather than a blessing to Africa, as we have seen in many other countries within the continent. Thank you guys. See you in the next one.